In 2019, I think the session went off pretty well without a hitch. It was, of course, governing in one of the only split legislatures in the country, but I think that we were really able to come together and...
Carlie Kotyza-Witthuhn represents South Eden Prairie in the Minnesota House of Representatives. That's District 48B. She is seeking her second term.
This year has been unlike any other, and it just is such a strange time to be able to communicate with constituents and neighbors, and really we're making a lot of phone calls. We are doing some lit dropping, and so when people are out in their front yard or doing some yard work, we are able to stop and say hello at a safe distance, which has been really great to connect with people. I'm kind of curious what it's been like at work for you with the COVID precautions and all that sort of stuff.
It's been challenging because there are a lot of things.
And I think because everybody is missing that personal connection that we typically have in our day-to-day lives, and I think it's just a really great opportunity to be able to learn more about what everybody's going through.
And there are other families that are really concerned about even just taking their kids to school, wanting to make sure everybody's taking the proper precautions.
People are getting kind of in the swing of things with back to school time frame, and so I mean education is on everybody's mind certainly, and as we look at what may come next year in the budget cycle, we want to make sure that we are still able to invest in our public schools across the state of Minnesota, and make sure that we're continuing to invest in all the communities, in our small businesses, so that getting them the help that they need, whether it is directing them to some federal funding that might be accessible, or here just state funding too. In addition to learning to campaign during COVID, my husband and I welcomed our 4th child this year. So now we have 4 children under the age of 6. And while our household is busy and our hands are full, our hearts are even fuller. I called a woman who she and her husband moved into an assisted living facility after he had a brain injury, and so he had to have surgery and they needed some additional assistance. And she and I had a great conversation. We were on the phone for about 30 minutes, and she wanted to learn all about me as a candidate, but also kind of just tell her story. And so it was really, really exciting to kind of hear about all the different places they've lived. They've lived internationally. They have, she has a PhD, so it was just really great to make that connection with her. And she ended up wanting to make some phone calls and volunteer for the campaign. Speaking from personal experience, I won my last election by only 241 votes, so I know that especially in 48B, every vote counts. And no matter if it's on the grand scale, the federal elections, or a hyper-local race like our Eden Prairie School Board, your vote is going to count, and it is going to be counted, no matter if it's mail-in, if it's early in-person, or if you wait until Election Day on November 3rd to cast your ballot.
You think I'm smiling. And Carlie were including.
In the year 2000, I was in 8th grade, and my social studies teacher told me and my classmates that election was going to be the most consequential in our lifetimes. Flash forward to 2018, when my name was on the ballot for the first time, I reached out to him and told him that year was going to be more personally consequential, of course, getting elected for the first time. This year in 2020, I don't think it's ever been more important to vote. This, without a doubt, is the most consequential election of our lifetimes, and everybody has to vote.